all rise for the pledge of allegiance. Sorry, Rick. Yeah, we'll be back now. Lindsay, could you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anybody have any preliminary announcements tonight? Only one I have is thanks for all coming out in this not real good weather. So I'm glad people come out and show some interest here tonight. No other preliminary announcements? Okay, we can take the roll call.
Sure. Councilman Brennan.
Here.
Councilman Ingram.
Here.
Councilman Stein.
Here.
Councilman Fishon.
Here.
Councilman Varhola.
Here.
Councilman Benavides.
Here.
President Paul.
Here. Sorry for the little bit of late start. We got sort of late. We had an executive session to discuss some litigation matters. Nothing new that will be coming up on your agenda. Okay, comments on agenda items and agenda items only. No reference to personalities or personnel-related issues. Anybody have any comments? Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I want to talk.
I'll get you.
No, let them
Oh,
go.
you want to go first, Ray? You want to defer to Ray?
No, he'll go. I can't walk up there.
Good evening, Board. My name is Jeff Reese, the Munhall Borough. On the agenda tonight, I know you're appointing 2 members of the zoning hearing board. I'd like to throw my name in as a third consideration. I previously had spoken to Mr. Callen about either being a potential solicitor for the board or being on the board. He said the current solicitor is going to stay on, so I'd like to show my interest. I currently represent 3 zoning hearing boards: Moon Township, Cecil Township, and Swinkley Heights. So I do have some experience, so I appreciate consideration of the third member.
No, not zoning or not planning, just zoning you're in?
I prefer zoning, but I'd like to be involved, so.
What is your name, sir?
Jeffrey Reese.
And where do you live, Jeff?
I live on Woodhill Drive.
And zoning and hearing board, that is item number 9, right?
Yes.
But you would also be interested in planning if there was an opening?
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
will.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Reese. Yes, sir. Mr. Donis, how are you today?
I can't stand up there.
You can sit there. I'm fine with that.
I want to know, I've been coming to this place for quite a while.
I know.
And what I want to know is that there nobody in Munhall that wants to take these jobs on this paper that you have, like Dan Lloyd, he lost that people, he want him. Joe Ballas, he lost that people. And it's always the same people, and 90% of you people are on the same board.
We just had
So
the
what the
person
hell
that
for
offered
should
to
we
bring
come here?
We just had a new guy tonight that offered to go on the board. That just stepped up to speak right before
Yeah,
you.
but that's beside the point. You know, they don't have a paper anymore, you don't know what's happening. You don't even know when the meetings are half the time in Munhall. You don't know what's going on here.
Is there a
Everything is,
particular board you're interested in, Ray?
no, I don't wanna be on no board, John. I'm 84 years old and I'm crippled.
But we do
I'm
encourage
ready to
new people.
die.
We do encourage new people.
No, but I'm saying it's the same, like you take Rick Brennan and Rick Worthian and all of them, they're all on the same boards all the time. And you want to know why Munhall don't have nothing? Oh, yeah, I don't wanna call you Caesar or nothing, but all of you guys are on the same, it's like a big gang down in Africa. We're gonna grab everybody at one time, and we're the boss. It's a disgrace.
It is advertised in the paper long before.
What paper? You get one paper once a week and it's already, paper comes out tomorrow,
Well,
and
that's-
it's in tomorrow's paper, your meeting's today.
It was in the Valley Mirror, and we had the Daily News, but you know what happened with that? They went out of business, so.
Yeah, I
The
understand
Post
that.
Gazette will also
But I
be
mean,
used in the future.
why don't you
now
put a
also.
calendar
Or
out or
Tribune
something?
Review, I'm sorry, Tribune Review will be used.
It's a shame to come here to argue about things that you can't do nothing about. And you try to straighten the place up, and the first thing you do, you put the same people in. I mean, I don't think I'm coming back here anymore.
No, you're welcome to come back anytime.
I know.
Thank you.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Give me help on it. That's my girl.
You gotta be nice to me my first meeting.
Motion two,
Motion to-
instead of the amount is $458,000. I thought at the last meeting, the figure was done at $600,000.
It was, Bob can probably explain that.
Yeah, I can't, we inquired about that, you're exactly right, you have good memory. As it turns out, and my office was unaware of this, they made a partial refund payment, let me find, here it is. This is something I just inquired about. They made a partial refund payment of almost $186,000 in 2014. I wasn't aware they had done that. And the reason they did is because Homestead didn't appeal all the years for which we were claiming a refund. They appealed a little more than half. Well, it was maybe 2/3. So in 2014, they refunded that amount, and now we got the balance. That's why it's less.
Okay, thank you. Motion three, do we have this fee established yet?
No.
So you're gonna advertise an ordinance establishing, how are we gonna establish the fee? Is the board gonna establish the fee?
Yes. Council. The board will be addressing council shortly tonight. The
Okay,
record board, some of them are here. They'll be addressing council.
okay, now, will the school district have to pay a fee to use the field?
Not for baseball or softball.
Okay, thank you. The motion four, what is the amount gonna be paid, for the bond for the borough manager and office secretary?
We're not sure. We have budgeted, I believe, $1,000. Usually a bond is anywhere from $400 to $600 per person.
Okay,
We haven't shopped that around yet.
okay. And motion five, is there gonna have to be 3 signatures on the checks now, or is it gonna be, is that gonna
She's
be
back up.
Two of the three.
2 of the 3? Okay. Under motion 9, I believe there's another opening on the board. I believe the alternate position is up for,
There's one regular position of the three and an alternate, yes.
yes, okay. And I don't know, did we receive any other letters of interest
No.
for any of the other boards? Were there any other?
There were two that came in within the past day or two that will be discussed later.
Okay. Under motion 14, who is the other business rep on the Enterprise Zone Corporation? Did somebody not put their name in? Not want to be reappointed?
Right now, the business rep is Mr. Brennan and Mr. Kovacic. It's suggested here that Mr. Brennan would move up to occupy a council seat, which will then open a business rep for at least one more year.
Okay.
There's one or two people that have put in for that vacancy.
Question, Mr. Manager, who is Mr. Chovacek? I'd like to know when he was appointed, where does he live? I have no way.
He's been on there for the past 2 or 3 or 4 years.
No, he hasn't. No way, I've been on it for never too many years, 40 years.
According to the Enterprise Zone, Mr. Sterrett, he did send a letter, it was in your workshop, that
Yeah.
he did request to continue on to be reappointed. I don't know, I mean,
When was he initially appointed? Because he said he was right here 9 months, and I have no knowledge of him ever being there. I sit on that board for all this time, and I don't know the guy. I don't know where he lives or anything else like that. No reflection on him if he has a business or whatever it is. Like, I just like to know when this board authorized him to be put on.
I couldn't tell you that.
Well, we should find out. He's on the Enterprise Zone and voting alongside of me. You
He's
know,
incognito, right?
I'm sorry?
He's incognito, he ain't around, he's just good for it.
Vicky. Donna, you have something?
Yeah, motion 19. Will that position, will the person holding that position have to live in the borough?
That will be decided, but I would like to see that happen.
Okay, and what would the salary be of that position?
Probably no more than 15, we're probably looking at 12 to 20 hours a week. We have budgeted within the 2016 budget about 20,000, it doesn't mean we'll pay that, but it is budgeted.
Okay, and, about the advertisement, so we are gonna advertise in what newspapers now?
Tribune and Valley News.
Do we have to advertise in 2 newspapers?
No,
No, that's just certain
they'll,
volumes.
have to circulate, have to advertise in the daily circulation newspaper, and the board chose Tribune Review at the reorganization meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to welcome our 3 new council members, even those ones are returning. Nice to see your face, John.
Anybody else have any comments on agenda items? Yes, Matt.
Thanks. Not for the 2315 fundraiser. I currently serve on the sewer authority. I know that there's on the agenda tonight to make appointments or reappointments. You know that our board is not political in any way, and so I just wanted to give my own opinion, sort of not officially as a member of the board, but an opinion that having been to what now, close to 2 years worth of meetings. We have 2 members who are up possibly for reappointment. Anyone who, council person, has been on council for a long time knows that before the sewer authority existed, much of your meetings were taken up with sewer matters. Now the authority deals with all those. And I'm sure that you're well aware that primarily what we deal with is either technical in nature, basically dominated by the engineer's report, or financial in nature. And I think that over the past, at least the 2 years I've been there, we've sort of made big changes to the authority to make sure that it runs more smoothly, that problems are being addressed, that the consent order that we need to follow is being prosecuted properly. And I was hoping that you would at least strongly consider reappointing the 2 incumbent people that we have, because I think that they've been a giant part of being able to move this progress forward. I think Mr. DiMartino and Mr. Fedorus, who's actually here this evening, both have the financial and technical background in order to be able to accomplish the things that we're really striving to do. It's kind of a crappy board to be on. There's not a lot of personal reward for anyone being on, but it's a very important board. And a lot of money comes through that organization, and you can see all the construction work that we've been doing lately. In order to, I think, to continue to move forward with what we've done, it would be beneficial to us to be able to maintain that continuity with people who are familiar with the process. Now, I know Mr. Vallis turned in a request to be on as well. I like Mr. Vallis. I think was either he or his wife, I helped them campaign for the position they have. I'm friends with his children. I have nothing against Mr. Vallis. I think he did a fine job as well. But I think that we are currently, on the board, we're currently in a sort of reorganization that would be better served by having people who are knowledgeable about that. So I just ask that you maybe consider reappointing the people who are on it so that we can continue with that mission. Thank you.
I have a question for you. I'd like to address you as a board member.
Okay.
Because there's been some talk of me being in a conflict with my position as a councilman
Sure.
and a plumber and working for the sewer authority. And I want to address this in front of council, and just so we can air this all out. Have I ever been to any of your meetings?
No, but all of you should attend meetings as often as you can.
And we should, and there are a few things I would like to address at your meeting
Sure.
in regards to certain things
Yes.
that we're doing.
Right.
But I in no way have had any conflict with anyone there. I've never voiced an opinion or tried to sway anyone from a decision ever there.
No, I think it's probably to the contrary. I think that there's not a whole lot of emergency work that comes up. We really strive to use local contractors when we can, and there aren't that many of them. Also, a lot of the work that comes about as a result of emergency work actually comes from our engineering firm, who's obviously a consultant. They, I'm sure, have hired you before. The authority really doesn't do this kind of direct hiring of consultants or emergency contractors, anything like that, so.
And I just wanted to bring that up because long before I was a councilman, I had been working and helping the sewer authority do work. It all started when the sewer authority had a dye test, when the borough dye tested the town. and I was one of the testers there. So, and since then, I've helped the sewer authority in any way I could, whenever I could.
I can't imagine it's for very much, like I said,
We lost money working for you, okay?
Well, full disclosure,
At
I-
$80 a trip out there, when we're out there for 2 hours with several men, we're not making any money there, honestly.
Sure.
So, and I just wanted to throw that out there before the meeting got started, because there's been talk that there's a conflict on my part working for the sewer authority. And I wanted to straighten that out right now. If anyone has any questions about that, I would be certainly happy to answer them right now.
Can we let Greg answer that? If there's any conflict or not? As far as his duties?
I mean, as a sitting councilman,
Yes.
whether or not he can be sign work, no, that's not a conflict.
In full disclosure, I also have a construction company, probably now 6 or more years ago, there was a major problem with the project down on Dixon Street, and I was hired as a subcontractor to try to remedy one portion of it as well. But, you know, I mean, those things happen, and we try to find people who can accomplish them. And, you know, we have like a multi-million-dollar budget. You know, if you hire a contractor to do $1,500 worth of work for you, I can't imagine how that kind of thing would.
So there's no conflict with Mr. Brennan voting, you're saying, Greg? Around the appointment
For
of the board?
an appointment to the board, I've never had that question asked of me in 29 years. I'm thinking about that because I'm anticipating that question might come up. But that's the first question about whether or not he is awarded work from the sewer authority board. That is an independent, separate board from his council. There's not a conflict there. Now, whether him voting on making an appointment to the board, I'm thinking about this because I never had that issue come up. But probably as a precaution, I would advise you to abstain from that. I err on the side of caution.
I've abstained in the
Yeah,
past.
okay.
And I would abstain in the future.
Yeah, okay. You would have done it anyway. Being asked that
I'm not
question-
asking that question.
Well, I thought you did last time.
I know you didn't ask.
No, I'm not asking that question.
No,
And I-
you're right, someone is going.
And I would, and will abstain from any vote.
And you have in the past.
And I have in the past.
Okay.
But my point to Mr. Bovee and to the council is to let councilmen know and let his board know that I in no way try to make any conflict of interest for me being a council person and me being a plumber and me being a resident, period.
In the grand scheme of things, you have a business to protect.
Well,
Yes.
in the grand scheme of things, when I'm doing something, I'm working at the direction of the sewer authority. What they want done, the procedures they want to do is all that we do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Anybody else on any agenda items? We'll move on. Oh, we have speakers here tonight. We have Chris Fassinger here. I don't see Nick. I see Rick Warshka. And I see Jessica Reese here. I don't think Nick's here, right? Are you gonna speak for the group, Chris, or is everybody?
I'll try to the best of my ability.
Everybody can, all three of you, if you wanna throw something in after Chris is done. We need your help on this, so we need some, direction a little bit.
Sure.
The fee schedule.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Fassinger, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a new face to the Parks and Recreation Board. So tonight, I came to discuss a little bit about the fee structure for Westfield. In our early stages of the Park and Recreation Board, we designated committees to try to deal with some of the more pressing issues that were upon us. And one of those committees was the Finance and Development Fees Committee. And Mike Pavlik, he is in charge of that committee, but fortunately, he was unable to be here. So what I can tell you about the committees, because I'm also involved with the permitting committee, is that a lot of deliberation, a lot of research and discussion went into the fees that they came up with for Westfield and other sites across the borough. They looked at like venues in other parts of western Pennsylvania. They also looked at other states that had like venues. Nick Donato is on that committee as well, and he was able to present a unique perspective because he umpires across the city for baseball games, and he has a lot of contacts, and he was able to get a lot of information for the committee on how they should set up their fee structure. One of the risks, or one of the unique factors for our venue is going to be how state-of-the-art it is, and there's not many of those venues in western Pennsylvania. So a lot of the feedback that we received was pertained to there's going to be a lot of interest in our facility. And one of the aspects that they looked at was they didn't want to overprice it, because we've heard places like West Mifflin that their field is so overpriced that no one can afford to use it, but we also didn't want to be too low with the fee structure. There was a fee structure on paper that was submitted to Bob Callan for you guys to review, and I can try to answer any questions with those numbers, and if you guys have any.
You have a copy behind the Golden Lodge paper that's in your packets. It's the one that was discussed at the workshop meeting last week. There was a question as to why we'd be charging an hourly fee as opposed to a block of time. If you could address that, Chris?
So I think a lot of the thought process behind that
It's okay, it's not going anywhere. It's still here.
Was to try to get as much of a rotation of organizations through our facility as possible. With setting up blocks of time, there was a chance that there would be time that was unused at the facility, and so we wanted to get the most use out of it as possible. Again, those fees that are on that paper were deliberated upon, and Rick, they pretty much, you guys went on the lower end of that, with the intent of seeing how the first year went, and then we can adjust them further in the future.
So on an hourly fee, if I have a baseball team and figure that's gonna be 3 hours, I would owe $45, and when that 3 hours is up, I'm off the field and the next team comes on to play. That's kind of the model.
Right, and you have it for that time slot, and the block of time, if you will be very, it'll be stringent on when you get on and when you get off.
And that would be indicated on the permit form itself.
Yes.
There was a question also, the difference between the softball, assuming it's girls, and baseball, assuming it's boys, the cost difference.
Well, yeah, with respect to blocks of times, if it's a softball team, a girls softball team, if it's a boys little league team, those games run at different paces. So therefore, you know, a girls softball game takes less amount of time than a boys little league game. And so that was taken into consideration on why to have hourly blocks versus a larger block of time available for an organization.
Any
Just to
questions?
add to that also, we did decide
Excuse me, you gotta
to,
identify yourself.
sorry, Kara Carstetter, I'm also on the Parks and Rec board with them, but, we did take out the baseball field versus softball field due to the fact that that's not just the softball field they're referring to as Little Diamond, Big Diamond, because it's not just the softball field. That is where the younger levels of baseball will be playing, and the older level will be at the bigger diamond. So it is no longer softball versus baseball field, it's bigger diamond versus little diamond, because there's different activities that will be at the smaller diamonds, not just softball.
Good. So the games, the smaller diamond are $20 an hour,
Correct.
big diamond are 15, Karen?
Correct, because you'll, just going by softball, Little League Baseball, the age groups and time differences, the smaller field, you could get more use out of, because those games will not go on as long as a high school baseball game or a college baseball game might.
Just for the clarification, that's a cost per team, not a cost per player.
Yes, correct.
That
Per
was
team.
discussed because it wasn't really, you know, some people can interpret it as a cost per player.
Right,
But it's a cost per team.
right.
Excuse me, I see you have no charge for lights for anybody. Have you gauged, do you have an idea or what turning the lights on would cost for an event for an evening?
Well, that breakdown, we'd have to get that from Bob to see what the expenditures are on for lighting. But, you know, the fee structure was considered, you know, the amount that was in there, even though they looked on the low side of things, that would hopefully contribute to the lighting. And we also will designate for teams, you know, that are gonna need lights in the evening, you know, for them, we would have to, you know, they'd have to ask for that on a permit. And of course, if they're playing in the evening, you know, that they would require lighting.
I just recall when we turned the lights on for the old field, the cost was absolutely astronomical. I'm guessing these lights are, you know, I'm
A
sure
little more energy efficient.
that, but I'd be curious and, you know, to use it wisely and, you know.
Due to the fact that, you know, this facility is gonna be so state-of-the-art, I guess what we could do is outreach to other light facilities and see what their expenditures are on lighting for those, you know, blocks of time that are in the evening.
I think that's a good point by John. I think, even if it's just not for lighting, just maybe, I know you guys put a lot of hard work in this, and I don't wanna do anything now,
Right.
but maybe in the future is to look at, you know, a different rate for evening games compared to the day games.
We'll have to get a history.
Well, once we get developed a
Yeah, we
history.
did discuss
that.
on the list, I don't know exactly what list you have, we did discuss, charging extra. However, depending on the time of year that you're in, that is gonna change. A 6 o'clock game in the summertime, you're not gonna use the lights as you are in a 6 o'clock game in fall. So I mean, that is something that we discussed, but we do need a year under our
We
belt
need
to
history,
figure out
right.
how that works out.
I can tell you this, when we used to go down here and to switch in the old time, it was $795 to go to put them on. And that was in any affair, an event we had down there. I'm just bringing up the point of how expensive electricity is. Hopefully, this new setup with everything is gonna be cheaper. But I know, I had 40 years in the baseball, and I can tell you, it was quite prohibitive, whatever we had.
Right. I think the hope is that get 1 year under our belt, and, I mean, of course, we don't wanna lose our shirt on lighting, but, structure the fees in such a way that we can get enough of a rotation of different organizations and interests in it, and, you know, have the word spread, and then incremental increases wouldn't be looked down upon by those organizations in the future because of the wonderful facility that we have to offer.
What's a normal baseball season, time-wise? I mean, the high school has it blocked from mid-March to mid-June. To me, that's the baseball season. So the rhetorical question I'm asking is, would there be any market after that time for baseball and softball? Because they're making their schedules now for this summer.
Right.
And I can't give them any guidance because I can't tell them how much it's gonna cost. So they're probably looking at other fields. So I'm saying is that we may not have much of a market this season.
Oh, yes, you are.
Well,
I'm sure you're going to.
they're making their schedules
There's
now,
interest,
John.
yeah.
But I can't tell them how much it's gonna be, and only the council can ordain that, so that's why we wanted to accelerate this and hopefully have a decision at the opening, probably hearing next week, next month, and then they adopt the ordinance, so I can give guidance to folks how much it's gonna cost. We pretty much already have the permit form put together.
You know, I umpire with Nick Donato,
Okay.
and, you know, wonderful human being.
just to give you an example of what some schools do, and some of the fields are community-owned, some of them are school-owned. They'll give the high school team like a one-game treat where they'll allow them to play under the lights. And that's like both the girls and the boys, once a year. That's what some schools do, or what some communities do. So I just throw that out there as a perk. Otherwise, almost all high school games are, as the young lady says, begin around 6:15, and they're done by dusk.
Right, and the, beyond the baseball season, like Bob was discussing, what opportunities are available for other organizations, and there is gonna be a lot of interest, just because of the unique quality of that field for rainouts. That field will not, rainouts will not be a factor like they are on regular dirt fields. So that's one of the main interests for teams, because they don't have to reschedule their games. But as far as allowing other teams to play in the evening and the considerations for the lighting, that of course we'll have to continue to monitor what the fees are going to be for that, to see how we have to adjust the fee structure.
I have two questions. First one, with regards to the high school's use and during their season, so is the implication from March to June, they're gonna have it all day, every day, 7 days a week?
Yes.
That seems excessive to me.
No,
Why?
no. They're only wanting it after school. The field will sit open during the day.
3 to 10.
They want it starting around 3.
Okay.
When you say all day, 3 to 10, and they do have
Right.
Saturday and Sunday blocked out.
There's opportunity if like Chatham College has expressed interest in using the field. They might be able to adjust their time where they can practice possibly in the morning, so that we can avoid conflict with the Steel Valley's baseball and softball teams.
Yeah, I know that most school districts discourage activities on Sunday. Most of them do, so keep that in mind.
It's still excessive, 3 to 10.
That's a lot.
That's a long
They're
time.
never gonna use it that much.
Frank was a member of the school board, he has.
Did you get my email that I sent out to, anyone whose email address I had, I sent out, requesting that the school board meet with you prior to one of our workshops, and, 'cause I think it's excessive.
Looks like we're gonna be there Monday. I sent a memo to the superintendent today, Superintendent Ware also,
Okay.
that we'd like to come up and speak, and I guess I'm waiting back from him to see what time period he want us to come up.
I think it's a little excessive too, I guess it's just a fail-safe method to make sure that the field's available, but a little better scheduling on our part would eliminate the need for such a large block of time.
Honestly, I
And I'm on
think,
that committee, by the way.
I think what we ought to do is we ought to bring West Homestead into the meeting as well.
Well,
They have a beautiful baseball field in West Homestead that they could practice on as well. They could mix practices in up at West Homestead's field, along with our field in Munhall.
You mean
They
Cal-
are part of the school district, and they have a great grass field up there. There's not a doggone thing wrong with that field. They need to work a little bit hand in hand with
And that also goes with, we have this beautiful facility for our team to play on, and for whenever other teams come to play us, that's great. We're not every team we play is gonna have a facility like ours.
That's
So
correct.
we do have to be used to playing on both types of fields. So I
And we're not-
agree, it is excessive and they should work a little bit better
And
together.
we're not saying we don't want them to play on the field.
Is Calhoun a regulation field for high school baseball?
Yes,
No.
we made it that way, the infield's 90-foot bases, we made that like 2 years ago, 'cause
Okay,
there was,
it's an upgrade.
and the outfield's left field's a little short.
Okay, so it's okay to use.
You can use
I don't
for
see why we
practice.
couldn't do that, as long as we.
I think we have a jewel that's going to be out there, and I think it should be showcased. I disagree, Rick. I would like them to practice on our
Well,
field,
I'm not
play on
saying,
the field.
I'm not
and
saying that they don't
I
want
would say in
to
every
practice
opportunity.
on the field, but they could, if the opportunity arose, and say Chatham College wanted to use the field, and we got an agreement with them, and they said, hey, can we get one practice in the afternoon? We should be able to accommodate a schedule around that.
Especially
That's
if we
what
have
we're
an away
looking
game, if we have an away game and there's not, if you have an away game, that field's gonna sit there, but they have that block
You got a JV
open.
playing here.
You might,
Yeah.
yeah.
If
What's
you
that?
play a varsity away,
Could-
JV's
yeah.
gonna be here.
But
JV games won't be running out as much either because they will be running out here.
Well, Chatham's one of the things, you know, we were talking to them, and it is an opportunity for us to bring
We lost.
revenue in this, to bring it back to
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, the good thing is we have the problem. It's a great
It's a good problem to have. We'll
Right.
figure.
One of
our
the
job's
other
to figure it out.
setbacks was, having the field ready in time, plus having the fee structure, in place to give, organizations like that the information that they needed to make a decision, and it just wasn't able to come to fruition, so, that's why we're still discussing it, otherwise it would have probably been
You're gonna do a good job.
on the fast track, a lot sooner than this.
If I just may add to the board and to the new folks that leading up to this point, I did request to get the baseball and softball schedule from the Steel Valley School District, which I got. I shared it with the Park and Recreation Board. We asked for a meeting with the coaches. I met with the athletic director, the coaches in group session, and asked for a little bit of wiggle room. There was none. We then held a meeting with the Park and Recreation Board, with the school district athletic director and Mr. Dukar, to see if there was some wiggle room. There is none. At that meeting was the athletic director of Chatham College, that's fielding a team, and they walked out of the meeting because we lost that opportunity.
The head coach
The
of
three,
baseball.
the 3 to 10 PM time slot for the school district was practices, both for varsity and junior varsity. That's why they didn't want, the only wiggle room they were willing to give was maybe an hour or two on Sunday. So we lost the opportunity with Chatham. It's difficult to find a home field during baseball when everyone else has it.
By the sound of that, we lost that field too, it's no more Munhall field no more.
Well, anyhow, we lost that opportunity for this season.
Another thing, opportunity we have is Chatham also wants to use that field for lacrosse and soccer, so they kind of want to make it, you know, and like I said, there's money out there, college is gonna pay good money to use that field, we can reinvest back into the recreation in the future of this.
What you have in front of you, council members, is that the authorization to advertise ordinance fee structure, which will then be at least the ordinance number, and if anybody wants to see the ordinance, it has to be drafted. If you approve it tonight pretty quickly, essentially it ordains and sanctions this cost, at least for 2016, for the use of the West Field. Next meeting, regular meeting, we'll have a public hearing based on that ordinance. We'll hear public comments, if any. And the plan is after that public hearing to adopt the ordinance. It's up to council if you're going to adopt it in February or March. I would suggest February because then I lose another month of opportunity. But that's the process. So we have another month from tonight if you approve the advertisement to move forward. Or if you want to adjust these fees.
I got one more question for you, Chris.
Sure.
And it sort of ties into what Rob mentioned. So, has there been any thought given to like a block discount? And here's where I'm going with this. So, I believe girls lacrosse is a fall sport. I could be wrong about that, but let's pretend it is. So if Chatham wanted to use the field, and there really isn't any conflict, and they had 2 games a week, 3 practices a week, they wanna do, let's say that's 10 hours a week for 10 weeks. Are they gonna have to pay $100 an hour, cause that's 10 grand?
You mean like a bulk discount?
Right, yeah.
Yes, that was discussed.
Okay.
Yes. And that, we left some intentional ambiguity, in the way we charge for situations just like that.
I mean, I think as long as they said, we'd like to practice from 5 to 7, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, our games are gonna be Tuesdays and Fridays, as long as they can say what days and times, so they know you're on and off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because the other risk that you run is alienating organizations that can't really fit into that hourly, time frame that they, like you said, would much be better off served utilizing a block And having that block, they know when it is, instead of having to go in and schedule, you know, an hour here, 2 hours there, and such. So yes, that was considered.
Any other questions?
I am. I'll be the bad guy. First of all, what comes to my mind, it's not the recreation board's problem, it's the borough's problem. I was sort of fishing for ideas on security. We're talking about hiring somebody out there to be gatekeeper, let's put it that way. But an edifice like this is going to be something that's has to, we have to keep our eye on, council has to keep our eye on and along for the protection of the grounds. And already, last week, saw a couple people out there walking the field, surveying the field, young kids naturally, they're ready to roll. But at the same time, you know, this is a problem that the council is going to have, security. And I don't want to be telling them, and I'll discuss it with the chief, we have 2 or 3 officers on any turn, and they're on the road. And then evenings and stuff like that, at certain times, what do? Do we hire somebody to look out the window of the woman's jail cell out there and say, yeah, they're all right, you know, I'm being facetious, obviously. But it's something the council's going to have to address, and, you know, it's gonna be a problem. We'll need more than just somebody say, a gatekeeper, and keep their eyes on. But it's something that I think the Recreation Board ought to be aware of. And it means a lot to me and to Pat especially, because we're responsible for security. And, you know, when you have a nice new field like this, climbing fences and all this other good stuff that goes on with all these things that are going to be, they're gonna be a problem. And we're gonna have to protect our investor. And, whatever it takes, you know, if you have any suggestions, any ideas, please, you know, pass them on, make suggestions to council, discuss it at your board meeting. You know, we're searching for answers, and we have some answers, but we look at it from one perspective.
Sure.
Well, the mayor's right, that's a, you know, it's a problem we're gonna have.
Right.
And especially we need to listen until that field starts turning over some money. And that's why, one reason why we're meeting with the school board on Monday to talk about things like this. You know, because the field is not coming with cameras. The field's not coming with a security guard or a maintenance person. And, I'd like to see, you know, partner up with the school. And any rec board member wants to come out too, because you guys are involved in this a lot. And I wanna thank the rec board. I think you guys have done a great job. I enjoy coming to the meetings and working with you. You know, I wanna thank you all for coming on. Kara, Jessica, Rick, Chris, you know, and the whole board. And we do have a new chairman of the rec committee too, and that's gonna be Jason.
Okay.
But I'm still gonna be around too, unless you guys don't want me.
Okay. You're always welcome.
Okay.
Rob, like I say, I got 2 requests.
Okay.
That's all our old mayor back here, William Knight. William W. Knight Memorial Field, you know, I bring it up all the time because it's Westfield, and, you know, we know Mr. Campbell has, you know, given us his generous donation to be able to go ahead with this, and we're really appreciative, I know all council. But there was a memorial there at the field, at the entrance, up to William W. Knight, who was the mayor for about 36 years, till he passed away, and I happened to be next in line, let's put it that way. But anyway, because of that, Mayor Knight, I think should be, as a memorial should be put back in, there was a flag there and everything. But my suggestion, and I will ask council to, you know, tell me what they think, is we have the maintenance building back here, the borough maintenance building back here. Should be repainted from the outside, maroon and white. That's Munhall, it's Munhall's field, and it should say Mayor William W. Knight Memorial Park, in letters probably about that big.
What's the name of
So
town?
that would be, that's the name, I think that's what it was dedicated as, and, you know, until council or somebody changes it, that's the way it should be addressed. Westfield's fine and all that for the athletic events and everything like that, but it is the memorial park that was dedicated by council years ago when he died, and I think we gotta honor that respect. And, that's all, I just wanna bring that up, again, I'm searching, again, I'm always searching for ideas, and you people have the knowledge and all that to be able to, you know, discuss things like that, which is in your balls in your court, let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's in our wheelhouse, right?
It's in your wheelhouse.
So, right, yeah, we can make recommendations to council for things of that nature. And we can certainly take that up for consideration.
Why don't you name it Campbell Field?
I have a question, Bob.
Okay, sure.
It comes to sort of what Ray was talking about, as the gates. And one of the big points of the field was having a walking track around the field. And is the field gonna be locked? Is our intention to lock the field off for people not to be able to walk the,
At dusk to dawn.
it's gonna be open from dusk to
Well,
dawn?
we have to establish the rules, like any high school or any other field, it's usually locked at night and opened up in the morning.
So our
The
intention
police will normally do that.
is to indeed have the field open for seniors or whoever would like to walk around and do the walking thing.
That's what we want.
Some of our preliminary discussions about issues like security and we didn't know that there wasn't gonna be, there's not gonna be any cameras?
Not unless, I don't know, but.
There's none, and according to the plan that Mr. Campbell has advanced, now looking at the budget, we did budget security cameras, but did not designate it in any particular corner, any particular neighborhood, any particular place, but we do have money to put in security.
We will have cameras back there.
Okay, one of the other things that just was kind of like a pie in the sky thought on my part was if you have a gate around the field and there's maybe 2 access points, to have some type of a system that if you had people that wanted to use the walking track for exercise, what have it much like Carnegie Library, where you have like a key card access, so you could register to have access to the field, that way we can monitor who's coming in and who's coming out. Wouldn't be just freely open. I don't know what the costs would be on that. I did a little bit of research on a system like that for one gate, $2,500. But you know, your other fees would be, you know, having the
Rental fee.
to have the key card and how much you cost that would.
They're not that much. We did it for the building, and we got 100 key fobs for, I don't know, a couple $100.
I thought that might be a good way to limit access, but still
Monitor.
have it be open to the community so that they can utilize it for its intended purposes.
I wouldn't want to any charge though for a community to walk the track.
No. It'd basically be like a library card,
Yeah.
where you would register to get access to the key card. And when you would come in, the fob that you would get would be associated with your name. And if anything was to happen at the field while they were there, they would take ownership probably of wanting to make sure that nothing happened to the field because they were inside the gates when something happened.
Or at the
We
very
put that
least,
under
at
our
least you know you
homeowners
may
then?
have a witness that was there.
Exactly.
I got a question, I might as well put my 2 cents worth in too. This is just my feeling. I feel, that sign should be enclosed in a fence, should be a fence around it.
The scoreboard.
Because right now it's open to vandalism, or kids can go up there, spray paint it or what.
The rec board has no control over the contract or construction agreement, I know, but it's already done.
That's just a suggestion.
What we do, this council does it.
Even if we have to do it
I
ourselves.
think we should have a meeting with the contractor and let us know what he's doing there.
It's already outside of the thing.
It's already done.
Well, I know that, but all these other questions that we have.
Right, like the secure, like we have things, money's allocated for security. Is there any intention of providing security, and what is that gonna be? I think that would be something good for us, actually, even as a board, to sit down, maybe we could sit in on that if you have a meeting with them, just so we can get an idea of what still needs to take place. Give us an idea of what we have to concentrate on for that field in particular.
And also, just going back to the walking track too, to be, access to the public, to keep in mind that when a sporting event is going on, that's not gonna be able to be used. That is part of the warning track and down the foul line. So during sporting events, during a baseball, softball game, that track is not gonna be able to be used. So just something to keep in mind as well.
As everybody knows, the Park and Rec Board meets the first Tuesday of every month. So anybody wants to start attending those meetings, I mean, I think most of the council who've been there, I've been there, Rick's been there, Harvey's been there,
We do charge you $5 to come.
50/50 when you get there.
Thank you for your 3 minutes, Chris, we certainly appreciate it.
The shot clock is off, I noticed.
Congratulations to the new council members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Minutes for December 16, 2015, regular council meeting, and January 4th, 2016, reorganization meeting. Do something? Okay, because new people cannot vote on December 8th, so December 8th. That's old guys over here. Motion for the December 16, 2015, regular council meeting. Approval of minutes?
Second.
Motion Harvey, second by Rick Brennan.
Bob, should we vote present or abstain, or?
Depends on the
Chairman, how he wants to go.
I would say since we were the only ones.
No, I mean,
here,
those of us who are not voting, should we abstain? I guess I should ask Greg.
You would abstain.
Just
Yes.
Okay, so just the four of us will vote this first one. All in favor? Renee, motion carries.
Everyone abstain. Is that noted?
Okay, and abstain from John Fishaw, Jason Stein, and Joe Mahola. Motion for pass of January 4th, 2016, reorganization meeting minutes. Motion by Ms. Bodine,
Second.
second by John Fishaw. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, reports from borough officials, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few things, most of them are reminders of the council because I'm delighted to see you all completed and time to move forward with the council. Let's get to work. I know you'll do your best, that much I know. I have a couple items that I would like to discuss. I want to do some thank yous for the Christmas decorations in the Borough building. Great job by our public works people. I want to remind council that we are now part, Munhall Borough, of the Steel Rivers Council of Government, which are 20 communities. And we're one of the 20s. We meet every third Thursday. Everybody's invited, just get on the agenda whenever the notice comes from the call. If you'd like to see over there, please find out what's really going on. And I'll be the president for the rest of the year. Moving on, the notice from Whitaker regarding a police merger been brought before council's attention in December, and Whitaker Borough is requesting, obviously, that Munhall Borough Police secure the Whitaker area for police services. And we've had some discussion on it, along with Whitaker Borough. There's some things that have to be ironed out, but at the same time, they only have, I think, about 3 more months before they need an answer, I guess. And in the interim, we've got to get together and make a decision, because from what I could see, and the chief could, interject what he wants to, but it seems like it's very doable, because Whitaker is, we're up there all the time anyway. So, being Munhall Gardens, we're up there, we're riding around there. I don't see why Munhall Borough couldn't add a few more streets, which is Whitaker, and patrol them, and from incorrect, I'd like to hear some feedback on that. After 25 years, as part of my report, I'm delighted to say Munhall Borough's borough building has hot water! Hey! We have hot water. It only took 25 years, and I thank those responsible, because council's responsible.
Because put electric feeder up there.
Believe me, I've been here too damn long, I guess, but at the same time, 30 years, 25 years, it took to get hot water. Now, all I want's a new fountain out there, out in the hallway there. It's a shame what that fountain looks like, nobody wants to drink out of it. It's not that it's deadly, but it's so ugly, it's pathetic. We have other things on our agenda, gentlemen, and I especially welcome the new people. We have to discuss our firing range one of these days, Mr. Chairman. We have to have a meeting regarding that. And also, we have things, we even had talked about getting a drone, believe it or not. But that's, again, to be discussed in the future. And it's something that with the school district, we could very much use. And I guess we had mentioned the cell tower on the property with the cemetery. Cemetery's a big item. It's gotta be, we've gotta come to a decision on it eventually. I have another question from Mr. Washington, which I'll pose to him later. But right now, the way the cemetery stands, nobody owns it. Nobody owns it. It reverts back.
Mr. Gondis, the camera can hear you talking, if you can.
Okay, go ahead.
That's all picked up,
Go ahead.
That's why the
I
camera
can hear
stuff.
Hey, I could hear
No, I mean, the camera can hear you, though.
So the cemetery belongs to nobody. But where's the cemetery located? Homestead Cemetery is located in Munhall, of course, you know that. And someday, we'll get a ruling from somebody, but we have to expedite it, and our solicitor is gonna look into it a little more to see if we have any more movement that we can initiate, let's put it that way, to find out, because otherwise we're gonna have a forest in the middle of Munhall if nobody owns it. Burials, if there's a burial being done there was 6 last year, that's why they went under. So, we're looking for someone, anybody who wants to buy a cemetery, or a construction company, or a landscaping business, there's a house on the property, there's a cemetery there. But one thing we ain't giving up, as long as I'm here, is our Memorial Day service up there, every Memorial Day. We've been doing it since I've been mayor. And we will continue to do it, where it draws 200-300 people. And that cemetery has Civil War veterans, graves there. You have a statue there. It's actually our cemetery, but without us having title to it, not knowing where we're going, why. I better be quiet already, I've said enough. Somehow, someone's going to have enough courage to, the judge and the trustee who had charge of determining what was gonna happen to the cemetery failed us because he come up with, it is what it is. In other words, nobody owns it. Okay, that's where that's going. It's sitting in the middle of Munhall. This ball field's sitting in the middle of Munhall. Unbelievable. Anyway, one other thing, I did mention, well, Reverend Turner from Homestead is his 50th year pastor, and the council I've addressed to them if they would like to buy an ad. I'm not selling the ads, but at the same time, I think it'd be a gesture on Munhall Borough. I think I'll quit right there. I could probably go on for a couple more hours.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're doing wonders.
So with that, I'll go, and if I have any more comments, which I probably will, I'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, the report of the solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, as you'll recall, this council approved an extension of the pilot agreement that has existed previously with St. Louis Plaza. For the next 10 years, that's been signed and returned, so it's officially logged for the borough for the next 10 years to make a pilot payment of $7,000 per year, which of course is a payment in lieu of taxes. But the money must be earmarked specifically for the borough's Bureau of Fire, as a reminder. So we have to provide evidence that it was used for that purpose each year. Secondly, we received inquiry, came in just today from Sydney Sokoloff, who's Managing Director of Specialty Liquor License Brokers, indicating his interest to apply for a liquor license transfer so that they can submit an application to the LCB. I believe we've done these here before. I've done these numerous times over the years. I assume he's talking about an intermunicipal transfer. That is when they are seeking to transfer a liquor license from outside Munhall Borough into Munhall Borough. And there's a specific procedure when that is the situation that the Pennsylvania LCB requires that they make application to the receiving borough, which will be Munhall Borough. We advertise and schedule a hearing, and we allow the residents to speak. The applicant must present its plan of what it intends to do with the liquor license. We allow for citizens' comments and, of course, council's comment and discussion, and then we vote to either approve or reject it. And then that vote is recorded in the form of a resolution. We forward that to the applicant, and then that also goes on to the LCB, and they consider that. And that can act would act as an obstacle, not a guarantee, but likely an obstacle to that being approved. But in any event, that's the beginning process, and I pulled the statute. It was changed in the last couple of years, so I wanted to see what changes were, but it does still require the hearing. So that's a situation, and we always charge for our costs when the application comes in. So we have to determine what the advertisement fee is, and if there are any other costs associated with the hearing, we'll make sure that's part of the application process. So that, I suspect, is coming. And then lastly, for this evening, I received an inquiry about the Munhall sign ordinance. Is that something, council? I got that from Bob. There was a question about the sign ordinance, so I did pull my codification book. Signs are regulated in the zoning ordinance in section 701 through 703. The ordinance prohibits flashing, animated, or moving signs. The ordinance also indicates that no sign or its lighting source shall generate glare, create a distraction, be a hazard, or obstruct visibility, or threaten safety of motorists. Section 703 addresses illumination. No sign may generate glare. Flashing or intermittent signs are prohibited. However, there's no regulation of hours of illumination. I don't know the specific zone that caused this inquiry to me to do this investigation, but there are no limits on hours of illumination. If that's something you want to consider, you are entitled to regulate hours, but of course you'd have to look at the different zones. For example, the waterfront would be treated differently than a mixed-use zone or perhaps a residential zone even, where you may have a home occupation or there could be some sign. I don't know what we're talking about, but that's something that you would consider if you want to go further and regulate illuminated signs. But that's what we have so far. And if you look in the zoning ordinance, section 701 to 703, I just gave you a brief summary. We'll give you the further details. So I'm available now if you want to have any further questions, or contact me anytime about discussion. But that's the answer to that inquiry, and that would end my report for this evening.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Boomer, didn't we resolve that last week? The flashing sign, this particular one where we were talking about?
Yeah, it's just it's not a flashing sign, it's just a regular sign. I did talk to Dennis on Friday and also today. He says soon as Dr. Graydon purchased the sign. He's on vacation right now. As soon as he gets back, he'll talk to him and he'll try to resolve the problem.
Yeah, between till 5 o'clock, or what was it?
He said he'll work with us. He said he apologized if it affects anybody. He said he's a new Denison Pittsburgh Munhall. He loves Munhall. He loves the people of Munhall. He said he's sorry if he ever, if it's bothering anybody.
Well, we're not trying to hurt him either, but that affects St. Teresa's and that area up there too. So for it to be on all night and all that.
There are some, like last Wednesday after the meeting, I went up on Main Street at 12 o'clock at night. There's probably at least 20 neon signs or illuminated signs on at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday night. All during, up in the business area and also where houses are.
Well, there's a flashing sign on Main Street.
There is a flashing sign on Main Street. Our zoning's a little outdated. Still Valley's sign is actually illegal. Still Valley's actually is a legal sign if you read our zoning. But all school districts have that type of sign. It's informational sign. It's the new thing now.
Would it be possible, and/or legal, to put an ordinance in that says a sign can only be illuminated during hours of operation? So for instance, when a bar closes at 2 a.m., their lights go off. When a dentist office closes at 7 p.m., their lights go off.
No, we can regulate hours of illumination. It's okay, but again, my comment was, look at the district that you're in. For example, signs illuminated down at the waterfront, whether it's 24 hours, what's the difference? I mean, most people wouldn't care, but if you're in a mixed zone, then I can understand that would make sense that you might want to do that, especially if you have residences doing that. So that's something to think about, but yes, you're permitted to regulate that.
Thank you. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Report of the manager.
Just a few things that you have on your agenda. The Allegheny League of Municipalities Conference is coming up in the early part of April. I sent out notices to everyone to give me your intention, whether you want to go or not. There's 3, 2, or 1 night, and the reason we bring it up because that fills up relatively fast. So far, of the 7 council people, I have 4 that have gotten back to me, and I believe the deadline I put on you was next Tuesday. As far as the Allegheny County Boroughs Association, there's a dinner meeting coming up on February 6th. So far, among the 7 or 8 of you, I got 3 that have signed up for that. They extended the deadline, but the deadline to get back along with payment would be next Tuesday. I think I sent a memo out on that as well. So if you can kindly get back. If I don't hear from you, I assume you're not interested. The other thing I have, Connect, tomorrow, Connect, which stands for the Congress of Neighboring Communities. It encompasses about 36 municipalities surrounding the city of Pittsburgh. They will hold their monthly meeting. We're hosting them tomorrow in the conference room from 10 to noon. Just want to bring that up to you because there'll be quite a few people here from the 30 municipalities. The other item I have is a backhoe. Back in September, it was brought to our attention that our backhoe is on its last leg. We were able to get through the fall. We did solicit quotes. We do have a quote of a pretty good backhoe of about $92,000. Having known that, we did put in the budget for 2016, which is adopted. Under Public Works, we do have about $92,000 allocated. The question will be, do we pay it all at once, or should we finance it over 3 years? That's not to be decided this evening. Mr. Vicey was going to address it, but he's out probably plowing snow right now in Sullivan Street, so I'm sorry he's not here, but we did get quotes, and the state price is probably the best price through CoStar. So I want you to stay tuned for that. I will make a recommendation to council. We'll be looking at financing, what kind of terms we could get, maybe over 3 or 5 years, or should we pay for it all at once? So that'll be coming down in the next couple of weeks. That's all I have in my prepared remarks.
Okay, thank you. Report of the engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last month, we talked about some of the paving, the streets that we looked at to pave, back in June. Some of the members of council and Bob and I drove around and looked at the streets, that had been identified as problematic. What I included is a spreadsheet that just shows the cost estimate. It's rough, no measurements were just taken from GIS and using a standard quantity that may be required for the base repair based on how bad the condition of the street is. So that's just a informational for the council of what we have looked at in the past. I believe that's something we look at in the future if there's additional money left in the general fund or that tip payment. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's the work that was done last year. We did not pave last year. It's been quite a number of years since we've paved a dedicated project. We were using liquid fuels. So just wanted to highlight that information. The only new project that's been ongoing is the Safe Routes to School project. It has, they did have some comments, after the third review, so we did deliver the final packages back on December 15th. 20 copies. They had a lot of, movement on that. We did have a coordination meeting for all the utilities that was held here on January 12th. It did snow, so we didn't go to the site. The intent of that meeting is required to hold it from PennDOT, and each utility has to provide us a 4181 UC form stating that they're okay with our planned sidewalks and that it won't impact their utilities. We were able to get those from 2 of the utilities. We were waiting to hear back, I believe, from the water company. We didn't attend, and we do have to work with People's Natural Gas, who do have mains in that sidewalk. So that's, we will continue to coordinate and get those forms back. We do have to have the forms in place and then get with PennDOT before they'll let us bid the project, so I'm gonna be aware of. Then we had their safety review committee review the project, on January 13th. They had additional comments, and they've requested that a site visit be completed with a representative from Harrisburg. And what their concern is that a lot of the they wanna make sure the existing sidewalks are in compliance with the ADA requirements. So we would do a site visit, go through each intersection and go through each segment of sidewalk as it stands, even the ones we're not touching. In some cases, we've scaled the project back to just be the worst pieces of sidewalk and the crossings. So that is the next step. We do have that meeting tentatively scheduled for February 10th. So any design changes that he would have to the project, again, we have to revise the drawings, resubmit. I don't believe it has to go through the same amount of reviews. It would just be, I believe, the coordinator we've been working with, Rob. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions about. I do keep some of the older things that haven't been resolved on my report. I just carry them forward until they're resolved. So that's why I kind of keep things that are ongoing and then I bold what's new to make things a little bit easier to understand as you look at the report. And then I think it's helpful to see the path forward, where things began and where they're at now.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Thanks for the spreadsheet that you passed out. I've asked Chester to prepare this back in December when we found out that we were going to get some significant amount of money that you have in your motion tonight to put into a capital improvement fund, over $400,000, or whether council chooses to use that for any roads or any other type of capital improvement, that's certainly up to council. But we have some cost estimates should that arise relatively soon. Thank you for that, and also that's a result of a road tour that we conducted this past summer for eligible, available council people at that time. One other thing that I failed to mention under my report relative to the millage and the real estate tax, the millage remains the same as in previous years at 10.75 mils. There is a senior rate relief under Act 77 of a 10% discount on real estate. And the due dates for real estate taxes for Munhall residents is April 1st, through May 31st to gain a 2% discount. June 1st to July 31st at the face amount, and August 1st to December 31st with the penalty. So I did at least want to make a public announcement on that, and I got that in my report.
I think the tax collector said she's been getting some calls, and because in the past they had we pulled it earlier, but that no longer is, we're not doing that early February, end of February discount anymore. Because we were advised by the company that we brought in, the consultant, that cost us $39,000. So that's why we made this announcement.
Under Public Works, Mr. Bicey isn't here, but you have his report on page, I think, 15. Okay, Chief, your report?
I see that my monthly was not included, my yearly was. Any questions on my report? Any questions, feel free to call.
You have no questions?
That's all I have.
Report of the fire chief. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have my report, I'll just briefly summarize it. We had 32 emergency responses in December. A little, right around 1,900 man-hours, with probably another 1,500 not indicated on my report, as is the case with every monthly report. Those are numbers in and out. I want to let you know that there's, the number you have on there, total calls for 2015 is a little bit higher. It's actually going to come in around 509, 510. Doing an annual report for you, you will have it by the next meeting, similar to what I did last year for council. So I'm in the process of finishing up and finalizing all the numbers and everything for your information. We did bring a seminar in, a leadership seminar. I brought that in right after Christmas. An all-day leadership seminar. I brought this Dr. Richard Gassaway, he's former battalion chief, who was phenomenal. And then item 8 on my report is just some information for you guys. Some of the reasons why we do support fire suppression and protection systems. We could have had we had a fire down in one of our apartments, and it was extinguished by some regular with water damage. Yeah, there was water damage. But that's a lot easier than replacing the whole condo and a bunch of lives and risking my firemen. So I wanted to state that and let you guys know exactly why we do support that stuff. So does anybody have any questions for the fire department at this time? Thank you.
Thank you. Code enforcement officer, Dave.
You have a copy of my report. The only thing I have to add to council is just bring to council's attention that St. Mike's has been sold. The plans are to have office space in that open office, around 15 new employees.
Say that again, please, I couldn't hear you.
St. Mike's Church has been sold.
Okay,
The plans are to have office space down there, like 15 new employees down there.
good, good.
And who purchased it, may I ask?
Some lady did. I'm not sure of her name.
I
She
mean,
didn't tell me
you
the
don't
name
know
of her
what,
business.
you know what they intend for business?
She didn't tell me that. She doesn't know the name of it. She hasn't decided yet. She's just working on the floor plan right now. Any other questions?
Any questions for code enforcement? Okay, we'll move on. We have Mike here today, sewer authority manager.
Yeah, I gave everyone a report in December, I believe. Most of the incoming council were at that meeting. So if anyone has any additional questions, not too much has changed. We're progressing along with what our, construction plans are and so forth. Wanted to be here tonight in case you had any audience questions about anything we've done recently too. No? No? As always, you can call me throughout the month.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
When Bob stepped out, I was just doing this part when he comes in. Our first motion to appoint Mark Turley, CPA, to audit the 2015 general fund at a cost not to exceed $6,000.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Ingles. Second by Jason Stein. Any comments, questions? This is the audit that we used when we had the backup. I feel he's done a good job for us, and his price is, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Motion to establish a capital improvement fund at an interest-bearing account with the First Commonwealth Bank, depositing this $458,261.61 TIP proceeds from the recent PA Supreme Court decision favoring Munhall Borough. Motion by Mr. Shawn. Second by Mr. Rodadian. Any comments, questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion to advertise an ordinance establishing a 2016 Westfield use fee structure. This was presented to us tonight by our Recreation Board. Motion by Mr. Bodine, second by Mr. Varhola. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Okay, I picked up. I'm sorry. We're at number 4.
Oh, man, I should have stayed out very long. We're doing number 4.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just did the first 3.
I apologize, I had to step out for a moment or two. Number 4, motion for Munhall Borough to pay the annual cost for $250,000 fidelity bonds for both the borough manager and office secretary.
Motion.
What if it goes higher?
Motion by Mr. Bodine,
Second.
second by Mr. Stein.
I have a question.
Question.
Question on the motion by Ms. Brennan.
Maybe this motion should come after motion number 5. Well, because I have a question on the borough secretary signing checks. And I question that, and if we vote on that and everyone agrees to that, then we should vote on getting a bond for that person.
Well, she should be bonded anyway, whether we do that or not, I feel.
Well, don't we have coverage on her already as far as employee coverage?
I don't think we have
We
coverage
have
on
coverage in errors and
either of them,
omissions.
Rick.
There is some, but it's a lot lesser amount. It's
We
less than
have-
250.
We have theft, employee theft, fraud at $150,000. It covers all employees.
Okay.
It's not a bond, it's a regular part of our
And
insurance.
what is, the bond is $250,000 coverage.
That's what was recommended.
Okay. Well, then, excuse me for asking that question.
No, there's never,
That's fine.
Hey,
any other questions on the motion?
question on that.
I don't think we have 4 questions on this.
No, what happens if it goes higher than $250,000 like it just did?
We have to vote, there's a motion, a second on, we have to take a vote on this.
Question on motions.
Question on motion, Mr. Shaw?
We'd like to call for a vote.
Okay. All in favor of the motion number 4? All in favor, aye? Aye. Nays? Okay, number 5.
Number 5, motion to appoint the office secretary as one of 3 signatories to all Munhall Borough financial transactions.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Shaw.
Question.
Yes.
I question us having a secretary signing our checks versus maybe another councilman.
One of the reasons we have her signing it, and it's basically as a backup, if myself or Mr. Bodadian, unfortunately something would happen and we're not able to sign a check for 2 weeks, that we have somebody here right in the office that's able to sign.
I understand the convenience, but I also understand the history of where we've been and where we're coming from. So that's my only question on that matter. Why couldn't we have another councilman sign instead of a secretary?
I think the secretary, she's here, and,
I understand that. I understand that.
it's convenient, and, we never had a problem with the secretary signing checks in the past.
I don't know, she's basically just an emergency zone.
I'm not
As a backup.
insinuating anything about the secretary. I'm insinuating the integrity of the council having other people sign it other than a council person, or, you know, per se the manager. So, I question that, and that's all it is a question. Any other comments? We could vote on it.
Comments? Any other comments?
No, I'd rather have the manager sign the check, but, he wishes not to.
I can see why.
Yeah. And that's my point.
Okay, do you want a roll call vote on this motion? Let's do a roll call vote on this motion.
Okay, the motion's on the office secretary, right?
Right.
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
No.
Councilman Ingram?
Yeah.
Councilman Stein?
Yes.
Councilman Tishon?
Aye.
Councilman Varela?
Yes.
Councilman Bonadier?
Yes.
President Falls?
Yes. Motion carries.
Number 6, motion to reappoint Nick Cabrilla to the Police Civil Service Commission to a 6-year term ending December 31st, 2021. He'll still be here.
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Engel, second by Mr. Varela. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7, motion to reappoint John Ondo to the Munhall Borough Planning Commission to a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2019.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, motion to appoint William P. McCarthy to the Munhall Borough Planning Commission to a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2019.
Well, do we need to add Jeff to that motion, or?
Who?
Jeff actually, this is planning for zoning.
He did indicate it,
But
I thought you said you wouldn't mind either.
I prefer zoning, I do either, both if permitted.
Do we have an opening for the zoning?
We have an alternate position up for zoning only.
No.
I mean, no, there's not. There's a position, there's two regular positions open and an alternate that's not on here, right?
Well, no, I didn't bring my score sheet with me. I think there's still one other zoning position open, and there's also an alternate position open. I didn't bring my score sheet from
I think you're right.
workshop.
Anybody bring that?
Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's important.
I thought Mike's term was
All 3 positions are open, because Michael Price's position became vacant January 1st.
Okay.
So we still have an opening there, plus the alternate member too, that has expired.
So-
In planning, we have, I believe, outside of this motion, 2 or 3 other vacancies that have not been filled, and I believe there's another person that came in late that's at the end of your packets. It's up to the chairman if he wants to consider that either now or later. But either in planning, I think we'll still have 2 open positions. In zoning, we will have 1 plus an alternate. These have been advertised, and back in early December, late November, and the deadline for applying for either reappointment or appointment was December 23rd. We asked for letters of interest, to give their work history, to give their education, to give why they feel they would have value. We haven't gotten it.
It's also been on our borough website for quite some time also, these openings, so frequently look when you get a chance, if you do go on munhallpa.us and see what we have open. Yes, Becky?
Are we adding Mr. Reese to both?
No, that's, I guess, my choice, but I think Mr. Reeves prefers zoning.
Zoning?
I would like to add him to zoning
Zoning?
and not planning.
Okay, Mr. Reese, how do you spell your last name?
R-I-E-S.
All right, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're on number 8 motion.
We are, we're on Mr. McCarthy. Motion by Mr. Varhola,
Second?
second by Mr. Brennan. All in favor for Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Aye. Just to make a note, Mr. McCarthy is replacing, tough one to replace, a legend, Jack Butler, who we lost a couple years ago. Number 9.
Number 9, motion to reappoint Donna Dressman and Thomas Burke to the Munhall Borough Zoning Hearing Board to another 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
Second.
Motion on the floor. Who made the motion? Rich, second. Harvey, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
You want to add Jeff now?
I would like
I
to.
would so move. I would
So
move
we'll
that
make- we'll
Mr.
make-
Jeff Reese
Yes.
be appointed to the zoning hearing.
That would be for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2018.
Not to be confused with James Reese, who once I, in social media, called him. Sorry. First one, by Mr. Sean, second, and Mr. Stein. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion passes unanimously. Welcome, Jeff. Congratulations. And Donna, welcome back too.
Thank you.
Number 10, motion to either reappoint Anthony D. Martino, reappoint Andrew Fedoris, or to appoint Joseph Ballas to 5-year terms for the 2 open seats of the Munhall Sewer Authority ending December 31st, 2020. So I think according to this motion, council will name 2 names by roll call.
Yes, I believe that's it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Sean,
Second.
second by Mr. Varhola.
Okay, Becky, we'll call the names and each council person will name 2 of the 3. Before you do this, we had a discussion in the office about roll call. We have 20 items here, and we always go alphabetically, and the guy who's A or B is always number 1. I would suggest we rotate that for each motion.
You know, one thing that I've heard, it's a good idea, that you brought that up, if I can just elaborate on that. One thing I know, if we can talk to the council, in another community I know they do, they kick in, I think it's $5, and they almost put it towards like a fund, like a
Pizza
flower fund, pizza fund, or something, you know. put
Sounds
towards
like
a fund.
gambling to me.
So if the person, whoever draws 1, has to pay, you know, it's not gambling. Whoever draws 1 has to pay. You're only saying, of course, one thing draws 5, I don't know. Maybe we should do it. But there's another community that does something similar to that, I know of. That they have someone different draw, and they draw for who votes first, and so forth.
Okay, Becky.
All right. Councilman Brennan.
I have to abstain from this vote, as I can't vote on this matter, and everyone knows how I feel on this matter. I don't need to elaborate. I hope everyone can vote their conscience on this and vote the right vote. Thank you.
Sure. Councilman Ingle.
DiMartino and Fedor.
Councilman Stein.
DiMartino and Ballas.
Councilman Tishel.
DiMartino and Ballas.
Councilman Varhola.
DiMartino and Ballas.
Councilman Bodadino.
DiMartino, Ballas.
And President Faust.
DiMartino and Ballas.
According to my score, I have 6, I'm sorry, 5,
5-1.
5-1, 1 abstain for DiMartino and Ballas.
Hey, Donna, right again, huh?
Next item, number 11, motion to appoint, number 11, motion to appoint the following to the non-uniform employees pension board. Robert Bicey and Devin Whitpen as employee reps, and Rob Foss as council president.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Levine. Second by Mr. Varhola. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Number 12, motion to reappoint to the Police Pension Board Joe Sabula and Scott Snyder as employee reps, Nick Cabrilla and Andy Bodadian as retiree reps, and Rob Falls as president of council.
Motion by Mr. Ahoa,
Second.
second by Mr. Stein. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. We got 2 ayes. Any nays?
Number 13, motion to reappoint for a one-year term to the Steel Rivers Council of Governments, Raymond Bodnar as a primary delegate, Rich Bodadian as the first alternate, and appoint Jason Stein as the second alternate with such terms to end December 31st, 2016.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shaw,
Second.
second by Mr. Verhoeven. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries.
Number 14, motion to appoint Councilman Rick Brennan as the Munhall Borough elected officials rep for a term ending December 31st, 2017, and to reappoint Steve Kovacek as a Munhall Borough business rep for a term ending December 31st, 2017, and appoint Dan Lloyd as the Munhall Borough business rep for terms ending December 31st, 2016, to the Steel Valley Enterprise Zone Corporation.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a letter from Mr. Satira. I would just like him to be included in the motion as a business representative from the borough.
You have that on page 39 of your packets that came in around 3 o'clock today.
I have comments on that, Mr. Chairman.
We have the first and second. No, we haven't. Should we, the first and second for comments?
So moved.
Comment?
Second. Okay, motion by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Rodine, and comments by Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor Baldwin.
I don't want to sound negative, but Steve Kovacek is a Munhall business representative for Steel Valley Enterprise Zone. Does anybody here know who Steve is?
I think the important thing, does anyone know whether he has ever attended a meeting or?
He was at a meeting night before last, John, at the Enterprise Zone event.
Then he's been appointed, I guess, by
By
this
who?
board. I would guess by this council.
Don't know.
I
I
would
don't
like
either.
council to look into that, because, again, I have nothing against Mr. Kovacek, he's probably a good businessman, that's what they're saying and all that, but at the same time, I've never met him, and I've been going down there for 40 years. And I don't know where he lives, or, I don't know if anybody does, does anybody in the audience know? Tell me, is it live in one home?
I think he's the proprietor of that Zero Fossil company that's on St. Avenue.
That's correct.
I believe so. He's like real tall.
Well, when was he appointed? I mean, you know, that's,
He may have been appointed, Ray.
I'll
Yeah,
make a
maybe.
suggestion.
Yeah.
I'll
Seemed
make
to
a
me that he-
suggestion.
Well, I'm sure he
It may have been one of those appointments where we didn't have anybody apply.
He's asked to be reappointed, so he had been appointed some time ago.
Well, I'm making a suggestion to hold that position open until somebody finds out next month, you know, they can put him on if so. You put the other one, whatever you desire, on, and if not, you know, as I say, he's sitting there on a board that I've never seen the guy. I've seen him the night before last.
You know, Mayor,
We have a motion on the floor already as. you know,
we have difficulty, you know how difficult it is to fill these positions, Ray, so, you know, he must have been interested at one time, is what I'm
Nobody
saying.
knows it.
And
Nobody
council
knows
must
it.
have appointed him, and he has indicated a desire to be reappointed, is that correct?
Nobody
No,
knows
there
how
wasn't,
he
there was a
got.
letter.
Okay, so,
As of-
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with him either, but nobody knows how he got on.
Well, council appointed, I might have
I'm
to.
guessing there's some
Where?
minutes somewhere
Where?
that
When?
say it.
Well, it has to be in the minutes somewhere.
Apparently he was voted for it. one time.
And when we get to the business, I suggest you do 2 out of 3.
We're gonna have to do this the same way, I believe, as a roll call vote, because we have 3 names. In or no, we have,
Do we know anything about Mr. Secretary?
He's on the civil service board too. Is it Joe?
Mr. Soteria.
He's on the civil service.
No, no, no,
No?
no, he got off.
He used to be.
He used to. He used to.
He's got the prior order of.
I thought he was. That's my.
So are we calling for a roll call vote? Should we do,
What we're looking at, from what I heard from the motion, is that to appoint Rick Brennan as the council rep, and of the 2 open seats for the business rep, combination of either Steve Kovacek and Dan Lloyd, and/or Joe Sotero in replace of any one of those 2. So the council's going to have to give the names as to do the roll call vote. So you'll be giving 3 names,
Is that the motion?
council and the 2 business reps. Is that my understanding?
I'm comfortable.
yeah, council and 2 business reps.
Okay, Becky?
Councilman Brennan?
You have to give 3 names.
I have to give 3 names? I can't, can I give my own name?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll give my name, and I'll give,
What's your name?
I don't know my name. I'll give, Mr. Lloyd and, who is the other person?
Kovacek or Soteria.
Kovacek or Soteria.
He's already been on the board.
He has to be reappointed.
He has to be
His
reappointed.
term is up and he has to be reappointed.
Oh, his term is up as well? Oh, okay. Well, I'll vote for him.
So we
Get that,
have
Becky?
Brennan,
Brennan, Lloyd, and Kovacek.
Right.
Yeah. Councilman Ingle?
Brennan, Lloyd, and Zatara.
Councilman Stein?
Brennan, Kovacek, and Satara.
He knows this guy.
Councilman Tishel?
Brennan, Satira, and Kovacek.
Councilmember Hall?
Brennan, Kovacek, and Satara.
Councilman Bodine?
Brennan, Kovacek, Satara.
And President Falls?
Brennan, Kovacek, and Soteria.
You have a score there, Becky?
Yeah.
What is the score?
I'm doing it, I'm sorry.
Just joking.
Not people want to drop it, so it's just.
I think I heard Brennan, Kovacek, and Satara. Is that kind of what I heard?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Next one, number 15. Motion to appoint Rick Brennan and Jason Stein as Munhall Borough reps to the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2016.
Motion by Bodine, second by. Varela. Too many B's. It's a little longer than me, it's almost 9. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I assume that's a majority.
Any nays? Any nays? Okay, motion carries.
Number 16, motion to reappoint Rob False and Rick Vogetarian as Munhall Borough reps to the Allegheny County Boroughs Association to a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2016.
Motion on the floor. Motion by Mr. Varela. Second by Mr. Stein. Motion on that motion, all in favor, aye? Aye. Nays?
Number 17, motion to appoint Rob False, Rick Brennan, and Rick Vogetarian as Munhall Borough reps to the Tax Increment Financing Fund Committee to a one-year term ending December 31st, 2016.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shawn,
Second.
second by Mr. Stein.
Remarks, Mr.
Remarks,
Chairman?
yes. Mayor.
I messed the money home from the TIF instead of developing them and giving it all. Thank you.
We'll do our best. Motion on the floor, all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion carries.
Number 18, motion to appoint Borough Manager John Ondo and Councilman Rick Brennan and Councilman Joe Barhola to the Munhall Borough Vacant Property Review Board to a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2017.
Motion by Mr. Revere,
Second.
second by Mr. Tishawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Number 19, authorization to advertise for a part-time administrative assistant for the Munhall Administrative Office.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Brennan, second by Mr. Barhola. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 22, motion to pay the bills for period December 17, 2015 to January 20th, 2016, as in the monthly bill list summarized as administration, $47,757.49. Police, $77,268.43. Fire, $37,057.68. Health and sanitation, $35,737.27. Public Works, $43,241.24. Recreation, $2,574.53. Miscellaneous, $472,553.73, for a total of $739,602.07.
You know what, Bob, that miscellaneous is kind of misleading. Why don't you enumerate what that covers?
As indicated in your agenda and the audience and theirs, a good part of that is pension payments at the end of the year, of almost $230,000 for both police and public works. We have our annual donation to the library of about $125,000. And as you can see, our monthly workers' comp premium is $37,000, and we had roughly $10,000 in tax rebates. I'm sorry, the pension was close to $300,000, I believe I said $250,000.
Thank you. Motion on the floor?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Barhola. I need a second on this. Second by Mr. Deshawn. All in favor? Aye. Nays? 23rd, motion to approve payroll for the period of December 17, 2015 to January 14, 2016 as follows. Administration, $26,484.66. Police, $136,313.19. Garbage, $36,256.79. And Public Works, $24,171.20. Motion on the floor? Motion. Motion by Mr. Bodine.
Second.
Second by Mr. Deshawn. All in favor, by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion carries.
It was suggested to add to another motion, if anyone from the audience wishes to address it, since it's not on the agenda. It would be motion 24 to reappoint Sue Ballas to another term on the Munhall Planning Commission. Her term is up at the end of December, and that would be, I believe, for a 4-year term. I'm just checking on the others. For a 4-year term, which would end December 31st, 2019.
We did receive a letter from her, right?
Yesterday.
Motion on the floor,
So moved.
motion by Mr. Tishon,
Second?
second by Mr. Brennan. All in favor? Any questions on the motion? Aye. Okay, motion passes. Announcements, next council workshop meeting, February 10th, we meet at 6:30. Council regular meeting, February 17th, 2016, at 7 p.m.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Brennan.
I'd like to just thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me lead the Community and Development and Blight Committee that's been formed. It's a new committee for Munhall Borough, and I'm looking forward into working extremely hard in that committee. I'm looking for support from our solicitor and from our code enforcement especially, also from the Planning Commission and all the backings of our borough. I think this is our most important issue to our borough, and I take this assignment very seriously, and I want to thank you for that assignment.
Hey, well, and I agree with you, it's an important committee. We did some things different in committees this time. We made a new committee that we've never had before, and it is on economic development and blight, because most of you attend these meetings, and you know one of our biggest questions is, this house next to me needs torn down. What are we doing about on 8th Avenue? Is it 436 8th, 418 8th Avenue?
We're gonna resolve that this year, Red.
That's some of the questions we're hearing, this is some of the things, and I think this committee is gonna work closely with the solicitor and also Mr. Cannon, and this will be, kind of, Mr. Cannon will be working with this committee very closely.
Yep.
And as for other committees announcements, Mr. Ingalls is still the chair of the Public Works. Mr. Bodadian, we combined and made everything public safety, and it was a suggestion of the mayors, and we agreed that we thought that was a good one to combine police, fire, and EMS into one committee. Mr. Yes, sir, you want to talk on that? I think you said something. Mr. Tishon is chairman of the Veterans Affairs and Government Affairs Committee. I already said that Mr. Stein is the chair of Recreation, and Mr. Varhola is the chair of the Finance Committee. And they all have committee members on there with them. Public Safety with Mr. Bodie is Joe Varhola and John Tishon. Public Works is Mr. Ingalls, Mr. Tishon, and Mr. Stein. Recreation is Mr. Stein, Mr. Bodie, and Mr. Ingalls. Finance is Mr. Varhola, Mr. Brennan, and Mr. Stein. Veterans and Government Affairs, John Tishon and Rich Bodie. I put 2 veterans on there. I believe they're the only 2 veterans, other than the mayor, that's a member of veterans, that's a member of this board here. And we also put on that committee, Mr. Brennan, who's very involved in the, having the veterans flags put up on Main Street. And if any of you are interested, that is a great program. I bought one to honor my father. The cost of it was at $90. My wife wrote the check, so I should. And it includes a flag that'll be up from Memorial Day through Veterans Day, then we'll take them down and save for next year. And you also get 2 small garden flags, one for hopefully the veteran and one for yourself, that you're honoring that veteran. And I know Mr. Tishon is on that list. I've seen he's going to be up on there, and so is the mayor is also going to be having be up there on Main Street as veterans and being honored. And Economic Development Blight Committee is Mr. Brennan, Mr. Ingalls, and Mr. Varhola. And I see the Economic Development and Blight and Finance a little bit going hand to hand in a lot of things too. There's a lot of things we want to do with the Economic Development and Blight. Will require some finance that we need to get done. Yes, ma'am.
Rob, I just want to congratulate Mr. Tishon with that committee. He has been doing that job for a long time.
That was another suggestion.
And he and I are probably the only 2 original old goats that are
Exactly right. 2 goats. Exactly.
on that committee. And I do want to tell him and welcome him to taking part in our Memorial Day procedures, which we have every year. You spoke at it a few years ago, John. And I guarantee that's gonna continue, whether that cemetery is open or closed, we're gonna continue the Memorial Day service, I assure you that. And last but not least, all the members, the new members, especially council, should have one of these, Borough Code. Do you get one, Jason, or I suggest the
That's an old one, Ray.
get a copy?
That's an old one.
I know this is an old
You
one.
get new one.
Well, you get new one. I have an old one.
I got a new one.
See, you mean more to him than I do. So get us new ones,
About 12 bucks
especially the new.
Right here,
people.
Ray.
Or you can download it on their website. It's online.
Get him a new one.
Get new ones, everyone.
Let's give them a new one, including the mayor.
I see.
You have some Yeah, 12 bucks. Used to be free. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the body here today?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mr. Leland. Thank you, thanks, everybody drive safe and going home.
I expected a little more controversy. My mom bought me this one. Here's my question. I heard when I came out. I know it's my sister was over I can't work together. Okay, and then